So only two sections remain in the web design here before we make it responsive. So the first section we're going to be building of those two sections is the pricing section. And we're going to be finishing off the desktop design with the footer section. Now the pricing section, right? So let's first give ourselves a bit more space again. So the pricing section, obviously it's a section on its own, meaning we would have to get this header. But there is a bit of a difference here, which is after we duplicate and bring it here, we actually don't need the call to action, because the call to action, sorry for this, the call to action is supposed to take us to the pricing section. So whenever we click any of these 1, 2, 3, 4 call to actions, we should be transferred to this pricing section. So this pricing section is the call to action section on its own. So we don't really need a call to action there. We'll just want to have a headline. A header here, also headline, that is. Then let's change up the content here. I'm just gonna copy and paste some of the content here. And here it should be not like that. Okay, it should be just simple, transparent pricing. And we'll take this, make it pricing. Okay. And just replace it here. Okay, great. Obviously I don't want it to be like this. I want the transparent part to be okay. Instead here, let's do it from the inner one. Okay, great. So this will be our simple headline, and we're going to be creating a sort of an interesting pricing section cards here. So there will be two pricing section cards. First of all, what do we need? We need a name for the plan, right? So we're going to have two plans, and we're going to need a name. The first one is the basic plan, okay? The basic plan. Right here, the basic plan, let's make it 16 pixels here, semi-bold. Let's have it in a frame and call it title. And no cap, but 16 by 16, I think, would be the best choice here. Also, we're going to give it some 8 pixel cordon radius. Let's give it a white fill followed by a stroke of our stroke color, which we've been using also. So this will be the basic plan. And we'll need a pricing for it. So the price would be in dollars, 0 per year. Okay. Sorry. 0 per year, meaning it's the free plan. So we have to create some distinction here. The first thing we want to do is we want to go and make it extra large, or actually large serif. Okay. Then we want to select this part and we want to make it a small here where it is small regular text. So the price should be the biggest sort of the biggest whole visual hierarchy element, and this should be just supporting. And we're gonna emphasize that by making this gray and by making this our brand color. Okay, so that's nice here. Next up, we're gonna be needing to provide a simple description. I'm just gonna paste it here, the description here, or just this is the text. I'm pasting much of the text here because like it's just writing text. I'm just gonna save you some time now so that you understand most of the concepts here. We don't really need to get so much in depth into writing and why we write the stuff we write. So obviously there needs to be a description. Then we'll need probably gonna be needing a button, right? So let's just get that button from here. The get started button. Now the get start, you can change it. Sign up for plan. I think that's a better text to have here. Through context, of course. now we're gonna be needing an icon to like indicate each feature, right? So in a pricing card, you always need to indicate your features. So we're gonna be needing an icon, which is a check mark. Hey, let's just go to icons here. Let's make this black, and this should be basically check icon. Hopefully it's outline stroke, okay. Then here, let's just increase the size maybe, height maybe 6. And we're gonna create a component out of it. And we're gonna copy it here. Go to designs. And from designs here, uh, we're gonna be just pasting it here and putting it in a sort of frame here, just to have it in a circle. Okay. So we're gonna call this feature indicator. So it's just a indicator. 24 by 24 I think would be enough here. No gap, no padding, nothing here. Just central line it and give it a fill. Again, the fill would be our brand color, and the color here would be white. Also it should be rounded, right? So it's 999, full rounded. Yeah, okay. So if we say that here, we might be able to make this a bit more interesting. If we go on to the gradients here, we might be able to say 0, create this fading effect for each icon here. Mm. Just to create something more interesting. Sorry. Just to create something more interesting. Here we're gonna try to add this fading effect, and maybe we can use one of these, maybe even the gray, just to create some separation. Now you have to ask yourself, is this visible enough? Like, it doesn't have to be too visible, but I think it's worth just having it being uh there. So I don't think this would work, but the good thing here is that we experimented, right? So now instead what we can do here is we can go with the secondary color here, the secondary brand color, which if I zoom out is this one, and we can experiment with this. So now we don't need the stroke anymore. And this, I think, would make the design a bit more interesting. So we're going to be using that instead of just having a flat icon. So I would actually want to make this component. So let's just duplicate this. Check indicator, we could say indicator. Control Shift R here. Let's call it a check indicator. So let's make a component. Let's copy it, go back to designs, and this is something we did. Sometimes we can just now paste it in. So now we have some features, right? I'm just gonna copy the text. Feel free to write them out, or you can grab the text from the Figma file that will be provided for you. This Figma file will be actually accessible to you. So sans, we're gonna be making this regular 40 pixels here, and we don't want this to be too big in comparison. So let's just decrease the size to 16, and let's just decrease the size maybe of this. Actually, we can go a bit higher than 16, 20. 20 looks fine here. Okay, so now we want to take this, group it, and we're going to call this feature, right? So it's one of the features of the plan. So we're going to call it feature. And let's go 16 pixels gap. Or maybe it's too further apart, so let's go 8 pixel gap, or let's go in between, which is 12, 10, 8. Okay, let's go back to 8. Sometimes you just have to eye stuff, okay? So it's not always about principles. And there isn't always a rule for everything. You just have to eye some stuff and decide on your own. So I'm just going to duplicate this a couple of times here. I'm just going to paste in some of the different features here. Here, and two more are left. And let's paste this in. And now we can take everything here and group them into the features. And finally, we can just give them some spacing here in between them. 24, I think, is a good size of spacing. Okay, we're almost done here, almost done. So what we want to do now is we want to take everything here and group it. Not together, obviously. There are levels of connectivity. So we want to take these two. And since this have some line heights, I'm going to leave it like this, but I'm going to add 4 more, or 2 more actually, just to give it some extra spacing. Following that, this will be the header, and not the header actually, this will be the content of the header, and we're going to group it here into 16 here, or 24 actually, and this will be the actual header. And let's take this, and let's group it with this one, right? So now we want to have like a certain gap, 32, or 24. The reason is I'm going to use this button as a separator. So first, for that, I will make this fill container. I'll central line this one. Now the button is the actual separator, as you can see here. So now we're going to go in and add some padding, 16 by 16 padding here. And notice like this overflowing, and we don't really want that. So we're gonna take all of these elements here and make sure they are filling the container. Meaning if they have to wrap, they wrap. Yeah. Okay, but we're going to give them enough space for them to not have to wrap. Now I'm gonna go into this and go this pricing. And after that, you can see I didn't include this, and that is done on purpose. I'm gonna be including it in a moment. First of all, let's give it a white fill on the background in a stroke around gray 800, and a corner radius would be around 8. Okay. Now, since we did 8 on that, I would decrease this to 6, obviously, since this is a special case. Now, it's almost done, it's almost complete, but we have to incorporate this too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here actually. First, let's give it gray 300 here, and let's make this black color, and let's create a style for this gradient. We're going to call it checkmark garage. I think now we can go here and apply it. Okay. So now let's go here, and on the padding, I'm going to give it some top padding, 32, just making it bigger. Now I'm going to drag this in. Okay, I'm going to drag it in, but I'm going to give it to ignore auto layout. So now we will just place it right here. Okay, first it should be in. Okay, here. Then should. Okay, should. Let's try to align it. Okay, and center it. Great, so now we need a bit more space here for it, but actually this is quite fine. We just need to increase the spacing just a bit. I'm gonna go 36 here, and now we have a bit more space. And this header, now this title is much better visibly. So here we can also increase it to see how it looks, and I quite like this one. So I'm just gonna keep it like this. So this will be our pricing. Obviously though, it feels bland, it feels boring. So let's make it a bit more interesting actually. The way I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna take a circle, is I'm gonna drag like a sphere, circle, an oval. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just gonna rotate it then. I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna call this the accent. This is just gonna be something interesting for the design. And let's just increase the size here. And let's center it. Okay, here, around here. Policy should be at the back. Now we're not gonna give it a fill. We're actually gonna be giving it a fill, sorry. Okay, so the fill would be a gradient. But before that, we need a frame within this here. This frame should be the accent container. And this frame would have to ignore auto layout, and we're gonna place it covering the whole here container. Then I'm gonna put this in, and now as you can see it's at the back, so let's just put it at the back here. And the reason I did that is to cut it off here. Now you might be asking, if you're experienced with Figma, you might be asking why not just clip content here. And the reason for that is this would also be clipped. So that's the reason. So instead now we have to go here, the accent container, let's give it some corner radius to show the corner radius. Okay, great. So now we're not going to be leaving the accent like this. But instead we're going to go white and white. And here this white would actually have the color this, and it's not going to be linear gradient, it's going to be radial gradient. Okay, we're going to have it something like this. Okay, we're going to have something like this here. Let's just rotate it a bit. Let's move it up. Okay, so now it's too visible and it's distracting from the content. So we're going to go to effects and layer blur. Okay, and we're going to add the layer blur here just to make it a background accent. So I'm going to go 128 here, 128. This should give this cool effect, but still make it visible, and it's still super visible. So I'm just going to decrease it maybe to 50 or 75 here. And if we do that, let's actually decrease score 64. And I think that's visible enough. Now I would like to create some separation here. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to give this some bottom corner radius, some bottom padding actually, and I'm going to give it some stroke. Here the stroke should be quite visible, maybe this color, and it should only be at the bottom. And now this should separate them, but this is too dark, I think. Maybe we can go with the default one, right? We would want to adjust this accent a bit more. So maybe we can center it like this. We can have it like this, centered on the top. And this, I think, has a pretty cool effect on it. It has a pretty cool effect. Everything is visible. And we're going to be just following with this. So this will be our pricing, one of our pricings. So this will be for the basic one. I'm just gonna copy this, make it into a component. Here. And this would be pricing, right? Pricings. Control Shift R here. This will be a component, and we're gonna add a variant for it for the secondary type of pricing. This is this variant 2 was actually premium, for the premium plan. Premium. and this will be for the basic or the default. Okay, now we want to go here. Obviously, let's say I'll search 64 by 64, as we've been doing throughout the whole website. And yeah, the gap's not showing completely because of this, but it's fine now. Here we can just go into the premium and add some adjustments. We're going to be adding a new color which we haven't been using so much. It's actually, I have the hex code for it, but let's try to get it to duplicate that color. So it's a shade of this color, and this is just going to be a darker one. Okay, so this will just add some more points of visual interest. And here the color would pop up the premium plan much more, and that's what we want. We don't want to sell the basic plan. If possible, we always want to sell the premium plan. So here from $0 we want to go $19, and here we want to go 99 1999. That is 20. So we just want to do this. Okay, so after that, for now, actually, let's just remove this. Let's make it invisible just for now. And we're gonna make this white, and we're gonna make the rest. Okay, we're gonna make this white, and we're gonna use gray 800, the border color, which is actually pretty nice color for this too. Now we would select this one, and we would create a new style for it. We're gonna make it white first of all. We're gonna take this, we're gonna make it black. We're gonna take this, we're gonna change the gradient here. Actually, we're gonna change it to be from a white to a black. Not actually full black, actually. We can use this color itself. So this would be the BTN icon gradient grad dark, then icon grade dark variation. We would select this one, and again we want this to be subtle, so we might try gray 800, or we will actually need a new color for this probably. So we're just going to select this one, and actually we don't need a new color since we want this to just pop up. I think a gray 800 works fine here. Yeah, do we even need the stroke? What if we remove it? I think that's visible enough. So let's just remove this and this here. Okay. And yeah, we're gonna change this too. So we're gonna need to make this from white color, really white color here. So our accent instead. And this will be a new style, which is we said checkmark grad, and this time this will be checkmark grad dark. Okay, then let's just select all of the black colors here and make them white, and that should be almost done. Actually, we need to finish with the gradient here, and we don't want it to stand out as much. Obviously this looks good on its own. It has like a shining effect, but that's not what I'm going for in this design. So let's just return it to the darker one, and the blue actually here is pretty nice, so we're just gonna keep it. So these will be our two pricing elements, right? So the basic one and the premium one. So obviously the premium one would take much more visual hierarchy, so it'll be much more visible. So that's why what we want to go back to design now. Control Shift R to replace this with the component, and let's just duplicate this. Let's have it side by side, and this pricing will actually be the secondary premium plan. And I'm actually gonna just change, I'm gonna go back to components and change the number of these. One thing I forgot here. Here for the check marks, instead of white, we would only use black here, or if not black, the color, okay, which we haven't really set here. So this color, this should be the darkest blue, I think. So this would be blue 100. And let's go back to, first let's set it here. Here, let's make this the blue, and let's just copy it and select all of these and Ctrl+Shift+R to place them. And we're gonna go to brand and systems, and we're gonna add the final color here. Let's just duplicate this. This is gonna be the blue 100. And actually, we have to get these in the same line, 32, and they will go from this lighter one to the darker one. This. So these are our color styles. You can see we have very minimal color styles and very minimal fonts. So we're not just randomly splashing fonts right and center. We just have a very restricted amount, which is what you want. You don't want to use many different sort of font sizing, fonts, colors, and colors, I mean. So you want to be restrictive of yourself in that way. We're going to call this the blues. And let's go back to the design now. Actually, to components here. And let's change this text. So the first one would be everything in basic. Okay. Here, everything in basic. So here, this should be unlimited digital assets inventory. I'm gonna take this, duplicate it, paste it, I mean, this one, and for some reason, let's take this, this should fill the container. And let's duplicate the final one, and let's add one more. Okay, so now if we just finish off and go back to the designs, we would have this, and we would have to group them. Obviously central alignment, but we want the height to be filled, right? So we want this to be the same, even if there is more content here. We don't want this to be shorter. We want there to be empty space here, which is fine, completely fine. And yeah, here this will be the plants. We're gonna have 24 pixel gap in between them, as we always do. We're gonna take these two, not actually only those two. We're gonna need one last text here. We're gonna have this text: all plans, including secure data transition, regular backup, SSL encryption, free subscription, are billed annually, cancelled anytime. So this is something just legal. It's not something you have to know. Probably your client, if you're working as a freelancer, would tell you to include it. Okay, sorry for that here. I'm having battery issues here. Okay, yeah, we're almost done here. We have to just take everything here and group them, and it's gonna be 48 pixels, as we have been doing all throughout. Here though, we're gonna have to compensate for that, and we're gonna have an additional top padding of like 24 pixels. And the reason we're doing that is basically because we don't want this to overlap. So yeah, it's almost done. Let's just name it pricing section. So the pricing section, it's very sleek, very minimal, but does the job quite well. And we're gonna take it in here. From here, obviously, should be 96 pixels as always. So notice that this is 96, this is 96, and this is 96. And now this is 96. So we want to also central line it to the page, and let's just decrease this. So far, very nice here. We have the hero section, the explainer video, we have the features, testimonials, pricing, and next up, we're going to be finishing off the whole website's desktop design with the footer section. And I believe that is enough for this video.